And I'd like to share a story with you, not of the first time that I went to adoration, but of maybe the most significant time in my life, at least until that point that I went to adoration. In my college years, in my sophomore year, I gave my life to Jesus Christ. Unlike many of you and like some of you, I had made a complete mess of my life. I was very much like the prodigal son. I had squandered a rich inheritance. I was adopted. My natural mother wasn't a Christian. I don't know much about her. I pray for her every day. I just found out recently she's passed away, and I continue to pray that she has come to know God and that she's with him even now. But I was adopted into a Catholic family. And I was raised in a great Catholic home by very sincere parents. And they gave me the faith, and I knew it pretty well. In fact, I used to argue in favor of Catholicism when I was a high school student, because I liked to argue even then. And I walked away from it all. As I hit adolescence, I began to live like a pagan, and after a while, I began to believe like one. And I was a prodigal. I was a long way from home. In my sophomore year of college, many of you are sophomores here tonight, I got alone with my God, who I had rediscovered in the Scriptures, and I said, I'm sorry. I've blown it, and I don't deserve to be able to come home, but if you'll have me, I'm yours for the rest of my life. I accept you as my Lord. I won't take your word as a suggestion, but rather as a command. And I wish to serve you and follow you for the rest of my life. And my life changed in many ways. But my first friends at that point in time were evangelicals. I didn't know any Catholics who were committed. You have a great blessing to be surrounded by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them in this very room. I didn't know any. But my mother kept hounding me. You've got to come back. You've got to come back. And every time I would try to come back, I was frustrated by my experiences at the church. I'm sure many of the people were very good and very sincere, and I was very judgmental. I don't mean to say they were all bad, but they didn't do anything for me. So finally I figured out, okay, what I'll do is I'll go on a retreat, a Catholic retreat, which will please my mother, and I'll spend the weekend, because I'm going to need a couple of hours at least, to disprove the Catholic faith. So I brought my Bible with me, and I thought during my free time I'll disprove the Catholic faith. It should only take 2 or 3 hours. And I went, and I have to tell you, my first couple of hours on the retreat only reinforced my frustration with the Catholic Church. I had just gotten back from a week with the evangelicals where we had been on an alternative spring break, and we had been meeting people who were living radically broken lives, and we had invited them to return to Christ or come to Christ for the first time. And we were watching lives change, and we had come to see that Jesus Christ had said, I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. And people were turning to him, and their lives were changing. And I went back, and the first thing we did at the college Catholic retreat was, well, let's get some crayons, which I thought was a little juvenile, and let's draw what we think is the way to get to God. Well, my table, the first people said, well, we need lots of paths because there's lots of ways to get to God. And I was a zealot back then, and I was about to jump across the table and say, there's no way to the Father except through the Son. I want to kill somebody. And I thought, these people are so frustrated, they just don't get it. I've got to go home. I don't even want to sleep under the same roof with these people. They're nuts. This is why I left in the first place. No wonder I'm a fallen away Catholic. There's nothing here, I thought. And I was on my way to go get my stuff. I was so frustrated. The priest said, hey, Curtis, are you coming to adoration? And I was like, and he goes, come on. And I was like, all right. Didn't even remember what adoration was. And I walked into a church, and I sat down. And I hadn't been in a Catholic church for a while. It was unusual, but reminded me of my childhood. There were statues and candles, and I sat there and was there for a while. And then all of a sudden, the priest came out, and he brought out a large gold object. I couldn't remember what it was called. But I remember as an altar boy remembering that whenever that came out, I wasn't quite exactly sure what I was supposed to do. And I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be that. I don't remember what that is, but I remember it wasn't Mass. And then he went back and he opened up another gold box, which I remembered was the tabernacle. And he brought out the Eucharist. I remembered the Eucharist. And these people who an hour earlier I wanted to kill because they didn't seem to know their faith, as the priest put the Eucharist into the monstrance, they all fell down on their knees and began to pray. And I sat there. And I had an existential crisis. I knew enough from my Catholic upbringing that Catholics believed that that was truly Jesus Christ. Truly, really Jesus Christ. And I, as a fallen away Catholic, didn't believe that. But I love Jesus Christ. I mean, I really loved him. I was praying on a daily basis, Lord, I'll do whatever you want me to do. You want me to go to China? I'll go to China. You want me to go to Russia? I'll go to Russia. You send me anywhere, I'll go. Just tell me where you want to go. I love you. You are the Lord of my life. I'll do whatever you want to do. And it hit me that that might be him. And see, there's no middle ground when it comes to the Eucharist, because you can't really say it's kind of Jesus. It's not kind of Jesus. I mean, here's the problem. There's the Eucharist. And if that's Jesus, and I love Jesus, then I should be on my knees, if not on my face, before the Lord. I'm telling you, if you walked in the room, I would have been on my knees, if not my face. And they believed that was him. And they were all on their knees. And I was sitting down. And I'm going through my mind thinking, what does the Bible say about the Eucharist? And everything I could think of sounded awfully Catholic. This is my body, take and eat. This is my blood, take and drink. Oh my goodness. See, there's no middle ground. I found myself thinking, if that's not Jesus, this is pathetic. I mean, these people are praying to a piece of bread. It's not even all that awesome, a piece of bread. I mean, it's just kind of a wafer. And if it's not Jesus, I should get these people out of here, and I should certainly get myself out of here. But if it is Jesus, if that's the Lord of the universe who I have come to know as the way, the truth, and the life, that no one comes to the Father but through him, that no other name has been given to man by which they must be saved except the name of Jesus. If that's Jesus, then not only should I be with them, but I should be on my knees. I should be worshiping him. I should be loving. I should be Catholic. That evening began an amazing journey for me. That evening started with me just sitting there, not knowing whether to kneel or walk out, and just beginning to weep. And I just began to cry and said, I don't have what it takes, Lord. All I know is that if you lead me, I'll follow. And he led me back to the Catholic Church.